everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Tech Check. We continue to find unique and interesting people in the Pakistan tech ecosystem. And today we have with us Mohsen Siddiqui from Genmo. Mohsen, welcome to the show.
Hey, Farrell, thank you for having me. It's an absolute pleasure and honor to be on a platform that has hosted such amazing individuals.
Thank you, Mohsen. We appreciate that. We couldn't do it without the support of folks like yourself. So once again, thank you very much for coming on. And with that, as we do Tech Check style, let's jump right in. Tell us a little bit about Mohsen. Tell us a little bit about Genmo.
So I'm Mohsen Siddiqui. I'm one of the co-founders of Genmo, where along with my amazing co-founder, Mona, we are essentially changing how the next generation of Pakistanis understand and interact with money by building a financial education-focused money app and a card for millions of families with Gen Z teenage children in Pakistan that provides both digital financial services and financial education to enable self-beneficial financial behavior. Being able to manage your money is globally recognized as an essential life or a survival skill, perhaps in the 21st century.
Sure.
However, all previous generations, including ourselves, have learned this through trial and error, right? Because there's no formal means of acquiring the skill set. There is no personal finance course at schools, colleges, or even universities.
Right.
Even though we have all of these subjects such as business, accounting, and economics, where we are essentially teaching children how to handle money for businesses, but we're not teaching them how to handle their own money first, right? Even at home, our cultural setup is such that as families, we don't really talk about money, especially when it comes to children.
Sure.
So when children go into the real world, they're essentially unprepared. And all of a sudden, they have to face these big numbers and make these adult decisions with adult sums of money, which has adult consequences, right? Which essentially negatively impacts their financial health and has a spillover impact on their mental health too. Which is why what we're building at Genmo is what every family with teenage children needs to ensure a financially secure future for their child.
Understood. No, that's great. No, that is very important. And, we're definitely, I would agree with you on a few things. One is, for my generation particularly, there was a lot more error than there was trial, which wasn't a very good way to learn. And the other thing is we are seeing here in the US a lot of increase in awareness around financial literacy. So this is a great idea that you have. So now that you've kind of shared the concept and the idea, what's the path to growth? How does this work?
So yes, absolutely. I mean, so you really have to see where the whole ecosystem around this product is currently at right now, right?
Right.
So when it comes to providing financial services to minors or teenagers in Pakistan, although every bank offers a minor's bank account, it is essentially a shelf product, right?
Right.
It is not something which is really customized as an experience for this particular generation, which is Gen Z and beyond,
right.
Which is essentially digital natives. But most of the processes which are associated with even something as simple as opening a bank account is by and large branch based and not digital in that sense, right? And obviously, in terms of the overall value addition to a product like this, it just doesn't stop at a bank account, right? Because this particular generation sort of understands the value of managing money much more than any previous generation did. And also engaging with financial products and services as well, right?
Sure.
So I've spent about almost 6-7 years in the investment industry, and most of that time has been spent in interacting with millennials and generations before that, trying to sort of make them understand that how important investing is for them, or how investing into particular asset classes like stocks could essentially help them grow their retirement pot and all of those things. But when I end up having conversations with teenagers, perhaps, which is another generation, they not only understand that they need to do it, they don't really require any convincing there.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't have a platform to do it, perhaps, right? And which is where the real value is, because not just providing them an opportunity, because there's a progression to this product, right? You
Sure.
start by providing somebody an opportunity to be able to spend money responsibly by
Mm-hmm.
providing them, visibility of where they're spending their money, providing them that financial independence by giving them some control with respect to certain financial instruments like a debit card, which they could use and understand that money is not unlimited. The money that they have to use it responsibly, and then sort of progress that okay, now that you've learned to sort of have visibility of your finances and you're doing it responsibly, why don't you start saving money, or why don't you start saving some of it, right? And then once they start saving some of it, you can teach them, okay, now that you're saving money, you can now start investing some of it, and then you start exposing them to different asset classes, starting from something as less risky as a mutual fund to then progressing towards stocks or NFTs or cryptos and all of those things. So that's essentially how the product needs to grow, especially in a country like Pakistan, where at this point, a 13-year-old or a 14-year-old, which is essentially our core audience, does
Mm-hmm.
not have a bank account, right? So they're
Right.
essentially, even though most of their spending is being done on digital platforms, so whether it is ordering food online, whether it is shopping online, or whether it is gaming online, they're still utilizing cash to be able to do those things, right? Or relying on their parents' debit card or credit card to be able to make those transactions. And then
Right.
going back to their parents asking for OTPs, right? I mean, that just, that happens a lot, right?
Sure.
And there's no reason for these individuals to not have their own financial instruments, so debit cards, right? And obviously a digital medium where they get visibility of how much money they have and where exactly are they spending their money, because they're already engaged. I mean, they're relying on their mobile phone for all other aspects of their life, right? So
Right.
whether it's
Right.
socialization, whether it's education, whether it's shopping, whether it's food delivery, everything is through a mobile phone. The only thing which is outside of the mobile phone is how they're managing their money. And that's essentially how the product sort of needs to be built and then sort of grown from there.
Got it. So interesting, and you're the good thing is you're replicating a model which is also readily available here in North America. My kids actually use this. So, question for you: monetization. How do you actually make money with this?
Yes. So, I mean, as you mentioned, that this model is absolutely available, in other parts of the world, especially in the developed world. And now we've sort of started to see sort of replications of it more nearer to home, and which is actually great, right? Because it sort of makes the conversation easier as well, right? Because earlier on, I mean, talking about teen banking, perhaps was a difficult conversation because you really had to explain why you're actually going after that niche, right?
Right.
But so many more prepositions are there in the region that now the conversation has become easier, right? In that particular respect, and certainly like any other banking product, the monetization channels are certainly similar. So absolutely, when there is a payment card associated, there is an interchange that comes along that becomes a point of monetization. And then certainly when you have a product like Genmo, the one that we're building, which has aspects of both financial services and financial education built within the platform, there are always these points of premium services that sort of becomes a part of the platform for users who might want to sort of go down that extra mile in order to access those extra services, where obviously monetization comes into play. And then the most certainly sort of having those merchants on board who actually appeal to this Gen Z or the younger audience, and having hosting their products onto the platform, that essentially becomes another way for Genmo to sort of monetize from the offering.
Great. Well, as you know, Mohsen, we try to keep it short and sweet. Last question for you. How many customers do you actually have today?
So we haven't launched yet.
Oh, okay.
Pre-launch right now, and we're currently building the product. But we currently have a wait list of over 10,000 users. Uh,
Excellent.
and these are mostly teenagers. And we've also built a network of over 1,000 plus student ambassadors all across Pakistan. So starting from Hassan Abdal to KGS, we have a Genmo ambassador today. All excited and waiting for Genmo to come out with the product and the card, because this is potentially the first time in Pakistan that somebody has sort of gone out there to sort of build a customized digital experience for these millions of teenagers out there in Pakistan. And to be very specific, there are over 100 million individuals in Pakistan who are under the age of 18.
Sure.
So whenever somebody talks about that 60% of our population is under the age of 30, majority of that population is actually under the age of 18, right?
Right.
And all of these individuals are essentially the engine to what Pakistan could actually look like in the next decade or so, or in the next 2 decades or so, right? And which is where exactly we are concentrating. And I think all of this particular growing community of both Genmo ambassadors and people who are part of the Genmo community now will essentially drive the product as we launch it in the very near future.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, thank you, Mohsen. This was very interesting to learn, and I think it's a good thing. It's going to help. What we hope now is that we continue to see more opportunities for these young children to grow their own fortunes. So this is a good way to start. So thank you very much for coming on the show.
Absolutely, it was an absolute pleasure, Farooq. Thank you for having me, and look forward to more great content from Tech Shack. And all the best to you guys.
Thank you very much. And with that, for our audience, as you can see, continue to unfold, unpack, lots of unique, interesting plays going on in Pakistan. We're not necessarily building a new wheel, we're reinventing a wheel, but things that can help our country. So with that, I bid you all, Allah Hafiz.